This video is sponsored by the Yesold G1 Max.
Hello my friends, and welcome to another video from Tales from the Road. I'm Pierce. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today, because you clicked on this video, we're talking about the Central European nation of Czechia, aka the Czech Republic. I love this country. I've spent a lot of time there. One of my best friends is from there and I go almost every year. So, in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know before you go, Czech Republic edition. Let's do it. As we always do with these videos, we're going to start with a little historical overview so you can get to know the region and a little bit more about the Czech Republic. First and foremost, the Czech Republic sits at the heart of Central Europe. It's got Germany and Poland to its west and north, Slovakia and Austria to its east and south. The Czech Republic, being in that heart of Central Europe, is an incredibly complicated historical place, mostly because everyone was fighting for this land. It was fertile, it was connected to rivers, and it was in the heart of modern-day Europe, like the continent. The Czechs, however, were these people that controlled this region. They are Slavic-speaking, and they speak a very similar language to Polish and Russian, although it's deviated quite a bit to where it's completely unintelligible from the Eastern Slavic languages. Historically speaking, and I think what you need to know as a traveler, is that a lot of the architecture and a lot of the things that you see were either made during the medieval period, where there were Czech kingdoms and Czech fiefdoms, which were sort of vassal states of other larger European powers. And then a lot of the buildings that you see in modern-day Prague and modern-day Brno were built during the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which was one of the largest empires in European history, was certainly one of the richest, with Prague being a major city that was within that empire on its western border with the different German empires throughout that sort of time period. The Czech Republic and their sort of brothers to the east, the Slovaks, are very similar in a lot of ways, but were very different. Although in state building, they were always sort of in the same bag. So after the fall of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, after World War I, the idea of Czechoslovakia started popping up and they became a nation and then they became a socialist state. After deciding socialism was not for them, the Czech Republic also decided Slovakia was not for them. They broke off and became the Czech Republic themselves. Since the late 1980s, they've been an integral part of what we consider modern democratic Europe. Today, they're part of the European Union, they're part of NATO, they are part of the Schengen zone, and they are a modern tourist destination for any Euro tripper these days as well. So now that you know a little bit more of the historical context, let's prepare you for your trip to the beautiful land of the Czechs. Visas. If you're an American citizen, you get 90 days visa-free in the Czech Republic. Just remember that the Czech Republic is in the European Union and they are in the Schengen zone, which is the free movement space of the European Union and many of its member states. That means if you go to, let's say, Amsterdam, you spend 10 days in Amsterdam, they go to Berlin, spend 10 days there. That means you only have 70 days left to visit the Czech Republic, which of course is a lot, but if you're budgeting time for a long trip, make sure that you use your 90 days effectively, because if you go to Spain, it affects your time in the Czech Republic, and vice versa. Transportation. Getting to the Czech Republic is really easy because all of the countries that border it don't have official borders because of the Schengen zone, so you can bus in and out without waiting in crazy lines. If you're flying to the Czech Republic, chances are you're probably flying to Prague, as that's pretty much the only major airport in the whole country. But if you want to visit different parts of the Czech Republic or fly to another country, like you could fly to Munich, you could fly to Budapest, you could fly to Vienna, you could fly to Bratislava, you could fly to Krakow, all of those are good launching points to see another cool city and then take a bus or a train into the Czech Republic from there. Being a modern European country today, you can get around the country by buses, by trains, you can rent a car, of course, and when you're in the cities themselves, pretty much every city has trams, they have taxis, which can be kind of overpriced, so be a little bit careful with that. They have buses, they have, some have metros, it just depends, like Prague has a metro, I don't think any other city in the Czech Republic has a metro, but there's a big integrated system of transportation, so getting around, whether it's just in Prague, whether it's to around the country, or whether it's to another country around the Czech Republic, is all very, very easy, I promise you. So now that you're in the Czech Republic and you know how to transport yourself in it, chances are you're probably gonna have to buy some stuff. So we're talking money. In the Czech Republic, they use the Czech crown, which is an old school currency that they're very proud of, which is why they haven't adopted the euro. The last time I was there was about $1 to 20 to 22 Czech crowns, something like that. The Czech Republic used to be quite cheap in comparison to the dollar, and the purchasing power was good. but because of the inflation brought on by the Ukraine war and by a lot of different financial problems within the EU, the Czech Republic has had pretty bad inflation, just like I talked about in my video with Hungary, and I noticed it was not that cheap the last time I was in the Czech Republic. It is cheaper than Paris, it is cheaper than London, but it is not nearly as cheap as it used to be, which is a bummer. In the Czech Republic, you can basically pay with card everywhere. You can even buy the tickets on the tram and stuff with your card now too, so carrying cash isn't super necessary. There is a pretty big scam that happens in Prague where people try to exchange cash, like if you bring euros or dollars in, instead of exchanging at the official office, some of the offices have really, really bad rates. And then sometimes there's these sketchy guys who stand out in front and try to trade you like old Belarusian rubles. Because a lot of people, they don't know what Czech crowns look like because they've never seen them before because they have their own currency. So don't do that. There's actually an amazing channel called The Honest Guide. And there's like some Czech guys that go around Prague and kind of expose all these scams. It's amazing. I'll put the link to that in my description if you guys want to check that out. It's really good to see it before Prague, and they have a lot of like more Czech content made by Czech guys. Speaking about scams, we can of course talk about the safety in the Czech Republic. I would say personally the Czech Republic is incredibly safe. Probably the sketchiest place in the Czech Republic is Prague, just because they have the most amount of tourists, which means they have the most amount of scammers and pickpocket people, all located in the very touristy zone of the center of Prague. The rest of the Czech Republic is all very casual. There's very little homelessness. There's very little like petty crime. So just of course be aware of your wallet and all that good stuff, the very European travel rules. And I think your trip to the Czech Republic will be more than fine, more than safe, more than happy.
Now a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Yesol. For many of us when we travel, making sure we are in shape to walk around the city and explore every alley and boulevard is important. Schlep up that hill to see the ancient Czech castle? Sure. No bus available? No problem. That's why I use Yesol to keep myself in shape, even while working from home. This is my Yesol G1 Max. It's an app-integrated stationary bike that has its own fitness app to track your goals, take exciting classes, or even just casts beautiful roads around the world for a stimulating 30-minute ride. It's perfect for me as I don't always have time to get out of the house and ride a bike for an hour. The best part is that you can also cast YouTube and Peloton to the bike, making sure that you're highly entertained while you're burning those calories. You can use my code TAILS100 to save an additional $100 for a limited time only. Thank you Yesol for sponsoring this video.
So, who are the Czechs? What is a Czech? These are good questions. Czechs are first and foremost modern European people. The majority of them speak English. Like when you go to the country, you'll have pretty much no issue speaking English unless you go to like some rural place. A lot of them study abroad. A lot of them have a very integrated like system of friends and life abroad. All of the Czechs I know, they've all lived abroad and do a lot of different things abroad. So very international type of people. The Czechs are Slavic speakers. So they speak a Slavic language similar to Polish, Russian, Serbian, Bulgarian, that stuff. But the central European version of the Slavic languages, specifically Czech and Slovak, are quite different than the rest of them. Czech is very hard to understand if you speak Russian or you speak Bulgarian. I think the Czechs probably can read those languages better than the vice versa. So pretty interesting. Czech culturally are very similar to sort of the Germanic world, so like Austrians and Germans in general, as well as other Central Europeans like Hungarians and Slovaks. The food culture is very similar. The sort of way that they go about life is very similar. They live in these very quaint fairy tale sort of towns, and it's really all good vibes for sure. Czechs sort of give off that log cabin, sort of like leather pants, sort of like alpine vibe that you get in like Bavaria, because the Bavaria state borders right with the Czech Republic, so a lot of that spills over, obviously. If you want to learn some Czech words before you go, the best one to learn is just ahoy. And no, that's not ahoy like pirate, that's ahoy in Czech means hello, which I think is hilarious, but also very, very cool. Were they the original pirates? I don't think so, but maybe. Secondly, you can learn jak se máš, which is what's going on, how are you? And of course, děkuji, which is thank you. Basically, if you go to Prague, you'll probably never have to say anything in Czech. It's very uncommon to find anybody sort of in the touristy city center that doesn't speak English. Of course, it can happen with any country, but it's not super, super common. If you go to any other city, you might find non-English speakers, so toss out some jak se máš, and it's a good start. Now on to my favorite part, the food talk. Czech food is hearty. It gets cold in the Czech Republic, so they don't have a bevy of things to grow. So you see a lot of these same sort of Central European, Northern European staples, the potato, very important, the carrot, and the meat. Any sort of smoked meat, any sort of pig, beef, all that stuff is very beloved in the Czech Republic. And of course, they make really good desserts and other things like that as well. The most famous foods in the Czech Republic are, number one, probably a dish called svičkova, which is a big roasted piece of meat they cut into slices and then top with a candle sauce, which is interesting. You take vegetables, stew them down, puree them, and then you serve it with these sort of bread-like dumplings, and for whatever reason, don't ask me, some whipped cream. Meat and whipped cream only in the Czech Republic. Very strange. The other foods you can find in the Czech Republic are all very similar to the idea of maybe Southern German food. They're all heavy. A lot of them are pork-based with some sort of dumpling on the side, could be potatoes. They have an amazing fried cheese dish in the Czech Republic, and they're all to be washed down with the national Czech alcohol, a nice Pilsner Urquell, because Pilsner is actually a city in the Czech Republic, and that's where that style of beer comes from. Or if you're feeling a little saucy, you can go for something called slivovica, which is a strong village alcohol made from plums. It's like jet fuel, but the Czechs drink it like water. It's very impressive. The Czechs apparently really like to drink. They're one of the heaviest drinking cultures in anywhere in the world. And more importantly, for a long time, I'm not sure if the government changed this, but beer was actually cheaper than water. So you could get like a Pilsner Urquell for like €1.50. You could get a bottle of water for like €2. Not great for the young kids or the non-alcoholic people, but really good if you like a cold beer on a hot Czech summer day. So this is the part of the video where I tell you about what you should do in the Czech Republic. And honestly, I've been all over the country. As I said, one of my best friends is from the Czech Republic, and I actually went to his wedding, which was a Czech wedding with just a whole bunch of Czech people pretty recently, which was interesting. The main point is if you're going to the Czech Republic, it's a very open country. It's very easy to get around because nothing's more than 3 hours away, which is really easy for traveling. The main point is you're probably gonna go to Prague. Prague is a storybook city. They have castles, they have churches, they have the old town, they have good restaurants, they have good nightlife, they have good clubs, good bars, the whole thing. Really love Prague. You have to go to Prague. It's like the number one thing to do. Number two would be to go to the secondary cities of the Czech Republic. You could go to Pilsner and you could go visit the Pilsner Urquell brewery. That's always a really nice thing to do. You could go to Olomouc in the east. You could go to Brno in the south. The Czech Republic doesn't have a big population. They don't have a lot of big cities, but the cities that they do have, they're all very fairy tale-esque. Nice church, nice castle, really nice old buildings built during the Austro-Hungarian times. They're very like storybooked, like something in a fairy tale, something written like Rapunzel type stuff. Just walking around is so beautiful in the Czech Republic. For those who enjoy the outdoors, the Czech Republic is really good. They have beautiful lakes, they have really nice alpine hikes. They don't really have like big mountains in the Czech Republic, but they have some nice hills that you can go up and down. In the winter, the Czech Republic is known specifically for skiing, especially in the east. They have lots of ski lodges with like nice food, with like ski gear and the whole thing. So if skiing's your thing, the Czech Republic is also a good place to do it. I'm sure it's a lot cheaper than doing it in the Alps. And I'm not sure it's as nice, but it is nice. I have people who have done it, but I have friends who have done it before and they like it, they like it. As with every country, they have lots of different themes, but I would say like one of the best things you can do in the Czech Republic, especially in Prague, is to do something like local. Seek out a local, do an Airbnb experience, try to do like a food tour, try to see where like grandmas make their slivovica, as I said earlier. I think that's the stuff that makes the country really stick out, because a lot of these modern European countries, it's harder to find these things today, but you can find them if you know the right people or you know where to look. So I think Airbnb experiences is a really good place to check that out. They're not a sponsor or anything. I always find like local people doing nice things. And sometimes you can find like, local cooking classes, local wine cellar, wine tours, whatever. All that stuff is good. The Czech Republic is a place where you relax, you walk around, you take in the beauty of what man can build, and you go for a beer or 2 or 10. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. I love the Czech Republic. It's a very special place. It's a place where I grew up in a lot of ways, where I made good friends, and it always reminds me of really good times. And I hope you have an amazing trip and experience in the Republic, a place that I love so very, very much. I cooked one of the Czech Republic's national dishes called kulajda. It's a soup made of mushrooms. If you want to check out that recipe, you can go to my website, which is listed below, www.benpiercejones.com. I have all the recipes for my project 197, where I'm cooking a dish from everywhere around the world. You can find that there if you want to try something Czech. If you want to try something Slovak, I also have something Slovak there, which is of course the brothers of the Czechs. If you like the video, make sure to of course like and subscribe. Anything you do is good. If you just like the video and you don't want to do anything, you know what? That's okay with me as well. So that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Ahoy!